You come to Las Vegas for the simplest reason in the world: you want a good night. A little music, a little heat left over in the pavement, strangers who feel like friends because the chorus hits and everybody sings the same words at the same time. And then the sounds change. At first, your brain tries to be polite about it. Fireworks, a backfiring truck, somebody being stupid. But the air keeps snapping, too fast, too steady, like the night is chewing on something hard. People hesitate, half laughing, right up until the first bodies hit the ground and the crowd finally understands the awful truth. This is not part of the show. Route 91 Harvest turns into a stampede under stadium lights. You run because everyone runs, you duck because someone yanks you down. Above you, the Mandalay Bay looms, dark windows, bright questions later. The numbers will harden into history. Stephen Paddock, a man who kept to himself, firing more than 1,000 rounds from a high-floor suite, using rifles modified to spit bullets faster. 60 dead, hundreds wounded, and a motive that never quite lands, like a sentence that refuses to end. But imagine this, really imagine it. What if the missing why was not missing at all? What if, in the panicked confusion after the shots finally stop, you take one wrong turn inside the hotel? One unlocked service door, one stairwell nobody is guarding yet, and you find something that feels colder than the air conditioning. A leather journal, tucked where a hotel Bible should be. No confession, no manifesto, just neat handwriting, grids of times, names you recognize from the news. And one line that makes your stomach go weightless. Phase 2, make them think it was random. You don't hear footsteps behind you. You feel them. You do not hear the footsteps behind you. You feel them, like a change in air pressure, like your skin decided to become a sixth sense out of sheer self-preservation. The journal is in your hands, heavier than paper has any right to be, and your palms are so slick with sweat the leather wants to crawl away. Funny, isn't it? You came here for music, not for secrets, not for nightmares with hotel carpeting. A few hours earlier, you were just another face in the route. 91 crowd warm shoulder to shoulder, the kind of happy anonymity that makes you brave enough to sing in public. Jason Aldean is on stage, lights washing the night in bright, easy colors, and you are thinking about normal things, how overpriced the drinks are, how your feet hurt, how you are going to laugh about this later. Then the night snaps. At first, your brain tries to rescue you with a lie. Fireworks, a speaker popping, somebody being dramatic. The people around you do that awful half-step of hesitation, the human habit of waiting for permission to panic. But the popping keeps coming. Faster, angrier, too steady to be anything stupid and celebratory. You see it in faces before you fully understand it yourself. Eyes go wide in the same synchronized terror. Mouths form the same silent question. Is this real? And then the crowd breaks. 10 minutes is not a long time when you are listening to a song. 10 minutes is an eternity when you are learning how fast the world can turn on you. You run because the bodies around you run. You drop because someone crashes into you and the ground becomes your only honest friend. Dust and spilled beer paste to your tongue. The air smells like hot metal and trampled grass, and that sharp electric scent fear has when it is fresh. Somewhere, people are screaming names that will not answer. Somewhere, people are doing the most human thing imaginable, covering strangers with their own bodies, dragging someone they do not know by the collar, shouting directions they are not sure are true. You catch fragments of kindness like they are drifting debris in a flood. When it finally stops, your ears keep the rhythm anyway. Your heart does not believe the silence. Your legs shake like they are furious at you for surviving. You do not remember deciding to move toward the Mandalay Bay. It just happens. The crowd funnels, security shouts, doors open, doors slam, and the strip turns into a maze made out of flashing signs and raw panic. People press into the hotel like water, finding a crack. Inside, everything feels wrong in that uniquely Las Vegas way: too bright, too clean, too designed to pretend real life cannot touch it. The lobby is a churn of bodies and voices, and every person looks like they just woke up in someone else's nightmare. You keep telling yourself, you are safe. You keep saying it like a prayer you do not believe. A uniformed employee points one group toward an exit. Someone else yells that everybody needs to clear the area. You drift with the current until you see a door that should be locked, but is not one of those service doors with a plain handle that screams, "Not for you." And you go anyway because you are not thinking like a tourist anymore. You are thinking like an animal that wants a burrow. The hallway beyond is cooler, quieter. The carpet swallows your footsteps. The air conditioning hits you like a slap of refrigerated normalcy, and for half a heartbeat you almost laugh because, of course, a building this expensive would keep humming along while the world outside is burning. You take a stairwell up without knowing why. Only that every instinct says, away from the open, away from the crowd, away from the places where someone can see you. 1 floor, 2, 3. Somewhere above, an alarm starts and stops. Or maybe that is your pulse stuttering in your ears. Then you see it, a suite door not fully shut, like somebody left in a hurry and forgot to bring the doorknob with them. It is not kicked in. It is not splintered. It is simply wrong. A mouth left open. You should keep walking. You do not. Inside, the room looks almost normal, which is the worst part. A chair tucked in, a lamp still on, an empty glass on a table with a polite ring of condensation, and the smell cleaning chemicals. Stale air, something faintly oily that does not belong in a place that charges this much per night. Your eyes snag on the journal immediately. Leather, black, the kind of thing you would buy to pretend you are about to become the kind of person who has thoughts worth preserving. You pick it up, and the pages tack slightly against your fingers, as if the paper itself is thirsty. The first lines are neat, unemotional, the handwriting of someone who thinks feelings are a malfunction. Time, test, response. Then over and over again, like a mantra someone is trying to carve into the world. The signal. You flip faster. Dates, blocks of numbers, short notes that read like reminders, not rants. There are little grids like a schedule, like someone is planning a business trip instead of a catastrophe. And then you find a sentence that makes your stomach fold in on itself because it is written in the second person. If you are reading this, you heard it. You look up, like the room might be listening back. Another line, so hard the ink bruised the paper. Phase 2, make them think it was random. You want to shut it. You want to drop it. You want to rewind your whole life to before you decided you were the kind of person who opens doors that say not for you. But curiosity is not a light switch. It is a hook, and now it is in you. You keep reading, and the journal keeps offering little pieces of sense, just enough to feel like relief. There are references to a compliance drill, to stimulus saturation, to a behavioral cascade. Words that belong in a laboratory, not in a hotel suite. You tell yourself it has to be nonsense. The scribbles of a sick mind. A private fantasy with no power beyond the page. Then you see a familiar timestamp. You check your phone with trembling fingers, the screen smeared by sweat and dust. News alerts stack on top of each other, each headline repeating the same facts with different degrees of disbelief. Shooter dead, motive unknown, investigators searching for answers, mentions of rifles modified with bump stocks. A barrage that lasted minutes, a room in this very building. You swallow and compare the journal again. The time blocks align too well. Not perfect, nothing in real life is perfect, but close enough that your skin goes cold. And there are other entries that are not tonight. Different dates, different places, not names, not exactly. More like labels, North Lot, Chapel Road, mile marker 17. Like someone is indexing human suffering the way a librarian indexes books. Your mind tries to protect you by making it all feel far away, like you are reading a true crime paperback at an airport, safely removed. But you are not removed. You are here, in the room holding it. Survivor guilt creeps in like a slow infection. Why you? Why not the woman you saw fall? Why not the kid who was crying for his father? The questions start stepping on each other, and then the gunfire comes back. Not in your ears, but in your nerves. Little phantom flinches. A sound in the vent becomes a threat. The hum of the air conditioning becomes a whisper you cannot quite translate. You tell yourself you are being paranoid. Then your phone buzzes again. No caller name. No number you recognize. Just a message, plain as a command. Close it, leave it, walk out. Your throat tightens. Because you did not tell anyone you were here. You did not tell anyone you found anything. And as you stare at those words, trying to decide whether you are losing your mind or finally finding the truth, the hallway outside shifts, just slightly like a shadow adjusting its stance. Someone is standing on the other side of the door. The door handle moves, not a dramatic twist, not a movie jump kind of moment. Just a small, casual dip like whoever's out there has all the time in the world and all the authority. Your lungs forget their job. The journal presses into your ribs under your shirt, and for a stupid second you're offended by it. Paper should not feel like a weapon. Paper should not feel like a crime. The handle stops. Then comes the softest scrape, like a card sliding through a latch. You do what survivors do. You become small. You become quiet. You become a person who would trade pride, dignity, and half your life savings for one unlocked exit sign and a straight line away from here. A voice murmurs outside the door, low, controlled, not panicked like everybody else tonight. The kind of voice that doesn't ask questions because it already knows the answers. Another voice replies, and you can't make out the words, only the tone checklist, calm. Your phone is still lit in your hand. That message sits there like a thumbprint. Close it, leave it, walk out. And here's the thing, nobody tells you about fear. Real fear, the kind that crawls inside your teeth and chews. Sometimes it hands you a weird little gift, clarity, a single bright thought. If you open that door, you're done. So you don't. You wait until the voices drift a few feet away, until the pressure in the hallway changes, until the moment stretches thin as cheap plastic, and then you move. Not toward the door, away from it. Into the suite, past the two normal furniture, toward a service balcony you do not remember seeing a second ago because your brain was busy trying not to die. You find a maintenance corridor instead. One of those liminal hotel veins the guests never see. A door that swings when it shouldn't. A stairwell that smells like paint and old cigarettes and somebody else's sweat. You go down, fast and careful. Counting steps like that will keep your mind from replaying the field, the lights, the sprinting crowd, the way the world shattered and kept selling drinks anyway. When you push back out into the public areas, Las Vegas is still pretending it's invincible. The carpets are loud, the chandeliers glow, the machines keep blinking like nothing happened. But the people are different now. Their faces have that hollow, stunned look, like everyone got older in the same 10 minutes. Security is hurting folks with stiff arms and brittle smiles. Police are everywhere. There are blockades and shouted instructions and a sense that the whole strip is holding its breath. Outside, the air hits you like a slap of desert reality. Neon reflects off car windshields in long, trembling streaks. Some streets are jammed. Others are oddly empty, like the city cleared its throat and forgot how to speak. You walk because stopping feels like dying. You keep one hand against your chest over the journal, like you're holding your own heart in place. The leather is warm from your body, and that makes it worse. It feels intimate, like it belongs to you, which is the sickest joke of all. You find a bathroom in a quieter casino, lock yourself in a stall, and finally let your legs shake, not a cute tremble, a full body revolt. Your mind tries to play the night back in neat order, but it won't. It gives you fragments instead. A stranger's hand pulling you down, a woman screaming a name, the metallic taste of panic, the Mandalay Bay's black windows staring without blinking. You take out the journal again. Your fingers stick to the pages, and you hate how accurate that feels. Like the thing is getting its grip on you, one line at a time. The signal, the signal, the signal. There are sections that read like clinical notes, not emotional, not political, just cold technical language about stimulus conditioning and crowd vectoring and compliance thresholds, like human beings are a flock, and someone finally figured out the right whistle. Then you hit a list of names, not full names, tags, really, subject 12, subject 19. And one that makes your throat tighten because it feels less like a tag and more like a verdict. Subject 0, unrecoverable. Below that, a sentence written with enough pressure to scar the paper, the implant does not fail. It adapts, you stare at it until the letters begin to do that awful thing letters do when you're exhausted. Swim, wobble, rearrange. For a second, it looks like the words are changing, and you have to ask yourself very quietly, very honestly, is this trauma or is this the signal? Because the journal isn't just describing a program, it's describing a contagion you can't wash off. Something that slips into you through repetition, through pattern, through fear. You slam it shut, then immediately hate yourself for doing it, because shutting it doesn't shut your mind. You step to the mirror and you barely recognize the person staring back. Same face, different eyes. Your pupils look too wide, like they're trying to drink the whole room. Your skin has that gray cast people get when the soul is running late. And there's this strange, humiliating thought that flickers through you. What if it already started? What if you're the next subject and you just don't know it yet? You leave the bathroom and find a corner seat near a charging station, bright, public, supposedly safe. You plug in your phone with hands that won't stop twitching. You pull up the news again, same phrases, same official calm, motive unknown, lone actor, no clear ideology. Investigators continue to search, unknown, lone, no clear. And you look down at the journal like it might grin. There's a Wi-Fi login screen, a local forum already buzzing with survivors trying to find each other, trying to make the night feel less like an asteroid strike and more like something a human brain can hold. You lurk for a minute because even now, you're cautious. Then you message one person who posted they were near you in the crowd. A simple exchange, no big confessions, just a thread of shared reality. They reply fast, they're kind, human. They tell you they can't sleep either. They tell you they keep hearing the popping in the shower, in the refrigerator hum, in their own heartbeat. They tell you something that makes you swallow hard because it's exactly what you haven't said out loud. It feels like it's still happening, like it's looping. For a moment, just a moment, you're not alone in it. The horror backs up half a step. You breathe a little deeper. You even feel, absurdly, a tiny spark of triumph when you notice something in the journal you missed before. A pattern in the time blocks. Every test entry lines up with a public event, a concert, a sports game, a parade route, a map of crowds, a map of control. You type carefully, asking the survivor if they've heard of the signal, if that phrase means anything to them. The typing bubble appears, disappears, appears again. Then their reply hits like a shove. Stop. They watch these boards. Your mouth goes dry. You glance around the casino, suddenly aware of every person holding a phone, every man in a windbreaker, every staff member with an earpiece. Your own paranoia feels stupid, right up until your phone buzzes with another message from the same unknown source. Not a warning this time. A correction. You were never supposed to leave with it. You stand so fast your chair scrapes, heads turn. Nobody helps, not in that meaningful way. People have already spent their courage tonight. You shove the journal deeper under your shirt and head for the exit, forcing yourself not to run, because running is an invitation. Outside, the neon looks harsher now, like the city's bright colors are just makeup on a bruised face. You take 3 steps onto the sidewalk and realize something with a sudden icy certainty. It's not the journal they're afraid of. It's what the journal did to you the second you read it. Because now you know where to look. Now you can connect the dots. Now you can ask the wrong person the right question. A black sport utility vehicle rolls up to the curb like it owns the street. The windows are tinted so dark they look like holes punched in reality. It idles beside you, patient as a predator that doesn't need to sprint. The passenger door opens, and a voice, calm, polite, practiced, says your full name like it's reading it off a file. The passenger door hangs open like an invitation you cannot afford. The voice that says your full name does it gently, almost kindly, like a receptionist confirming an appointment you never made. You stand there on the sidewalk with neon bleeding across the pavement, and you realize something simple and awful. Whoever is in that black sport utility vehicle is not guessing. You do not answer, not because you are brave, because your throat has locked up, because your brain is doing the fastest math it has ever done. Door open equals inside equals gone. Let's not make this harder than it is, the voice says. You picked up something that isn't yours. Your hand presses the journal through your shirt. It is ridiculous. This moment you survived a storm of bullets, and now you might get erased by a sentence delivered in a calm tone. A couple walks past laughing too loudly, eyes red like they have been crying and decided to pretend they were not. A security guard glances your way and looks away again. Las Vegas has always been good at looking away. The voice continues, patient. We can keep you safe. Sure, like a sealed evidence bag. You do the only thing that has worked all night. You move, not a sprint. Not yet. You step sideways like you are giving the curb some space, like you are just another person trying to find a ride. You force your face into something neutral. You even manage a tiny, stupid nod, as if you are considering their offer. Then a taxi swings around the corner, and for one shining, absurd heartbeat, luck chooses you. You throw a hand up. You slide into the back seat. You say the first suburb name that comes to mind like it is a prayer. Henderson, anywhere quiet. The taxi lurches forward. The sport utility vehicle does not chase immediately. That's the worst part because it means they do not need to. Halfway there, you ditch your phone. You hate doing it. It feels like cutting off a finger. But you can almost feel it betraying you, broadcasting your location with every innocent little ping. You leave it in the taxi's back pocket like a poison you finally spit out. Cash changes hands. No receipt, no goodbyes. You end up in a low, sleepy neighborhood where the streetlights are dimmer and the air smells like gravel and watered lawns. A friend of a friend, someone who owes someone, lets you into a spare room with a half-inflated mattress and a laundry smell that tries to be comforting. For a few minutes, it almost is. You lock the door. You sit with your back against it like that will stop the world. You take the journal out and place it on the bed as if it might bite. The quiet is so deep you can hear your own blood moving. And then, because trauma is a cruel little magician, you hear it again, not gunfire. Not exactly. A faint rhythmic tick-tick that has no source. It's in the walls, in the air conditioning, in the bones of the house. You press your palms to your ears and it doesn't go away because it's not a sound you're hearing. It's a pattern. Your brain has learned. You open the journal anyway. The pages are organized like a work project, dates, locations, times, response notes. The handwriting is steady, almost proud. No rage. No trembling confession. Just the bureaucratic neatness of someone who has decided human beings are a system you can tune. There's a section labeled financials, and you feel your stomach drop because you remember the real headlines forming outside in real time. Investigators poring over Stephen Paddock's money, his purchases, his travel, every receipt turned into a clue. In the official world, the Federal Bureau of Investigation would comb through his life and still come up short on motive. In your hands, motive has a ledger, not direct proof, nothing that tidy, but references to transfers timed to test windows, mentions of equipment rental that do not match anything a normal person would rent. Notes about coverage like someone is talking about insurance, not slaughter. And the more you read, the more you feel the shape of the thing behind it all, not a mastermind twirling a mustache, not some lone villain in a dark room, an impersonal force. A program, the journal calls it the signal, but it describes it like weather, like pressure, like a frequency that can be aimed. You find a paragraph that turns your mouth dry. Broadcast trial successful. Artificial intelligence calibration improved. Subjects self-rationalize impulses as personal choice. Self-rationalize. That's the phrase that gets you, not obey, not follow. Something more intimate and terrifying, making you think your worst thought is your own. You stare at the words until they smear. Your eyes burn. You rub them hard, and for a second you are back in the festival crowd. Lights overhead, music still playing, and the first shots cracking the night open. Then you blink, and you are in a spare room with a cheap lamp and a journal that keeps telling you the world is hackable. Just not in the way people online joke about. You start investigating with the only tools you have left: open screens, old articles, public filings, archived maps, timelines people built out of grief and stubbornness. You cross-check dates in the journal against other random tragedies that made the news for a day and then got swallowed. Different cities, different faces, same ugly surprise, crowds, confusion, motive that evaporates under scrutiny, a pattern you cannot unsee. For a moment, something bright flares inside you. Hope, maybe, or the adrenaline of making sense of madness. You find a repeated phrase in the margins. 3 words, always written smaller than the rest. Wire whisper node. You search it like a desperate person searches symptoms at 3 in the morning. Nothing at first. Then you find a buried mention in a municipal document about communications infrastructure upgrades. A contractor name that appears in multiple counties, multiple states. Your heartbeat kicks up. Your hands shake, but this time it's not just fear, it's momentum. You whisper to yourself, okay, I can prove this. And right on cue, your brain punishes you for optimism. You black out, not the dramatic fainting kind, the subtle kind. You are standing at the desk, and then you are sitting on the floor with your back against the bed, the lamp still on, the journal open to a page you do not remember turning to. Your mouth tastes metallic. Your wrist aches like you gripped something too hard. On the page is fresh writing. Not the neat handwriting from before. Yours, you stare at it, and your scalp tightens as if your skin is trying to crawl away. It says, you will want to tell someone. That is how it spreads. You flip through more pages and find other lines you do not remember writing. But your hand recognizes them anyway, like muscle memory without consent. The signal is not just an external threat anymore. It is inside your routines, inside your gaps. It is teaching you to doubt yourself, to fear your own hands. You think about calling the police and almost laugh short, bitter because, what do you even say? Hello, yes, I found a journal that suggests an artificial intelligence-driven broadcast is pushing people toward extreme violence. And also, I might be writing in it while unconscious. That's how people get institutionalized. That's how people get disappeared. You think about posting it online, dumping scans everywhere, letting the whole world see. But the survivor from earlier warned you. They watched these boards, and now the journal itself is warning you, in your own handwriting. Like a sick little ventriloquist act, you sit on the edge of the bed with the journal in your lap and feel tears come, quiet, humiliating. Not just for you, for the 60 people who never went home, for the hundreds who did and brought the night with them. For every random act that might not have been random at all, and for the brutal possibility that the real weapon is not a person, it's a method, a frequency, a whisper on the wire that turns human pain into a lever. You wipe your face, you breathe through the shaking, you make a decision anyway because doing nothing is its own kind of death. You start gathering what you can, dates, contractor names, the repeating nodes, the time blocks. You prepare to send it to someone outside this city, someone loud enough to be inconvenient. Your finger hovers over the send button on a brand new message you haven't filled in yet. And then the house goes still. Not quiet, still. As if even the air is listening. A knock hits the front door. One knock, calm, certain. Then a second. Whoever is out there is not asking if you are home. They are letting you know they already know. The knock lands again, calm and unhurried, like whoever is on the other side has a clipboard and a schedule, and you are simply the next item. You stay frozen with your hand hovering over the half-written message on the screen. Your finger is still poised like you can send truth into the world faster than someone can turn a doorknob. A third knock follows. Same rhythm, same confidence. And that's when it hits you, soft, sickening logic. A friend doesn't knock like this. A neighbor doesn't knock like this. Somebody selling something definitely doesn't knock like this. This is a knock that says, we do not need your permission. You glance at the journal, open on the bed, and your own handwriting glares back at you. You will want to tell someone. That is how it spreads. The house is too quiet. Even the air conditioning feels like it's holding its breath. Hello. A voice calls from the other side of the front door. Not your host, not a familiar voice, neutral, professional, the kind that can pretend to be anything it needs to be. Your skin goes cold in a way that has nothing to do with temperature. You look around the spare room and realize you have built your little bunker out of laundry detergent and denial. One locked door, one mattress, one journal. Like that's a fortress. It isn't. You move fast, not graceful. You scoop up the journal, your notes, anything that feels like proof. You hesitate over the laptop because it feels too loud, too traceable, too easy to smash. You take it anyway because you are still clinging to the idea that evidence matters. Another knock, your mind tries to bargain. Maybe it's actually law enforcement. Maybe they're here to help. Then you remember the message from the unknown number. You were never supposed to leave with it, and you remember the line in the journal about coverage. The way it talked about investigations like weather forecasts. In your hands, help starts to look a lot like containment. You slip out through the back, into a yard that smells like wet grass and sprinkler water and someone else's normal life. The night is warm, but you feel chilled anyway, like you're walking around without enough skin. You cut between houses, hopping a low wall, ducking under a tree. For a second, you're almost embarrassed by how dramatic it feels, like you're play-acting some paranoid fantasy. Then you hear a car door close soft, controlled in embarrassment, evaporates like spit on a hot sidewalk. You crouch in the dark behind a shed, peering back through slats. Two figures step up to the front door. One stands to the side, posture relaxed, hands free. The other holds something flat and dark. Credentials maybe, or just a wallet that looks official from a distance. There's no shouting, no urgency. They look like people who have done this 1,000 times. The door opens. Your host appears, rubbing their face, confused and half asleep. You can't hear the words, but you see the body language, a brief explanation, a polite nod, a subtle shift in stance that closes off the doorway like a lid sealing a jar. Your host glances past them, into the house, toward the room you were just in. Guilt hits you hard enough to make your eyes sting, not because you did something wrong, exactly, but because you dragged this into someone else's life, and now you're watching the splash zone widen. You turn away before you can see what happens next, because your survival instincts are cruel but effective. You move. You keep moving. A main road, a gas station, a convenience store glowing white and sterile under buzzing lights. You step inside and try to act like a person who belongs in a world where people buy energy drinks and lottery tickets at midnight. Your hands tremble as you pay cash for the cheapest thing you can pretend you wanted. The clerk doesn't look up. A couple of customers stare into their phones with that slack, exhausted focus like they're trying to scroll past reality. And then you feel it. Not a sound, not a voice, a pulse. It rises in your veins like a second heartbeat. Wrong in tempo but perfectly consistent. Your thoughts stutter. For a terrifying moment, you can't remember why you're here, where you were going, what your own name sounds like in your own mouth. You grip the counter until your knuckles whiten. The pulse fades to a whisper. The clerk finally looks up, eyes narrowing. You okay? You force a nod. You force a smile. You lie the way people lie every day, small, automatic, practiced, just, long night. You step outside and the desert air feels thick, like it's been used too many times. You lean against the side of the building and open the journal with shaking fingers. This is the part where you expect to see madness. Instead, you see logistics. There are notes about equipment that never made sense to you before. References to prototype custody and field verification. A list of items with checkboxes, and beside one of them a phrase you cannot get out of your head. Device remains plausibly invisible. You swallow. Your gaze drifts to the spine of the journal. It is thicker than it should be. You press a thumb along the inner seam and feel something hard beneath the leather, like a hidden rib. A ridiculous thought flashes through you. Like the book is smuggling a secret the way people smuggle money tucked into the lining. You tug, the leather gives with a quiet tear, and a small black object slides into your palm. It's compact, unremarkable at first glance, more like a piece of test equipment than anything dramatic. Matte casing, a single recessed button, a tiny indicator window that is dark right now. No label except a symbol stamped shallowly into the corner, the same mark you've seen again and again in the journal margins, like a signature someone didn't want traced. The pulse returns immediately, answering the device like a dog hearing its owner's whistle. Your stomach drops. Not because you found a gadget, because you have the sudden nauseating certainty that it recognizes you. The internet always fills silence with stories. After the shooting, threads multiplied like ants on sugar. People arguing over oddities, timelines, details that didn't add up to them. Unused weapons, strange gaps. Things witnesses swore they saw. Most of it was grief trying to build a map out of smoke. But in the journal, unused appears in a different context inventory, not rumor. A clinical note, arsenal exceeded requirement, behavioral variable unreliable. Subject 0 escalated beyond script. Beyond script. Your skin prickles. Script. Like tonight was supposed to go a certain way. You stare at the device until your eyes water. Then you do something that feels both stupid and necessary. You search again for that phrase from your breakthrough wire whisper node, using a public terminal in a 24-hour laundromat. Fingers careful, movements minimal, like you're handling a venomous insect. This time, you don't find an answer in a document. You find a person. A single message appears through a buried contact form on an abandoned-looking page, as if the website itself has been waiting, dormant, for someone to say the right words. Do you have the book? It asks. You type back with your heart in your throat. Yes. The reply comes fast, too fast. Then you have the device. Do not activate it where there are people. Your mouth goes dry. You never mention the device. The next message is worse. You are being tracked by proximity, not location. It is not about your phone. Your eyes flick to the laundromat window, to the street, to the quiet stretch of sidewalk where headlights pass and vanish. For one brief, stupid moment, hope tries to rise again. A whistleblower, an insider, someone who knows, someone who can help you prove this and survive it. Then the pulse in your veins tightens, and that hope turns sour, because you realize the truth has teeth. If an outsider can recognize what you're holding, so can the people who want it back. You pack up and leave the laundromat, keeping the device deep in your pocket, trying not to think about how warm it feels against your thigh, like it's alive with leftover electricity. You walk 2 blocks and spot it, a black sport utility vehicle, idling at a stop sign, a little too long, tinted windows, patient posture. You turn down a side street without breaking into a run. You tell yourself you're imagining it. A second vehicle rolls by slow on the next cross street. Same color, same empty stare of dark glass. You duck into a small motel office, the kind with faded brochures and a bored attendant watching late-night television. You keep your face neutral. You keep your voice steady. You ask for a room like you're just another traveler who made a wrong turn in life. Behind you, the door opens. You feel it before you see it. The shift in air, the subtle click of footsteps that do not hesitate. The attendant looks up, smiles automatically, then falters like they've forgotten what a smile is for. Their eyes slide past you, their throat bobs. "Can I help you?" They ask someone behind you. You don't turn around. You walk. You keep walking. Your key card is in your hand and your pulse is in your throat, and the device in your pocket is suddenly vibrating in a slow, deliberate pattern, like it's counting down to something. You get into the room, lock the door, chain it, lean your weight against it like that will change physics. Your hands are shaking so hard you almost drop the device when you pull it out. It sits in your palm, silent and innocent, looking like it doesn't know it's ruining your life. But the journal is open on the bed again, pages fluttering slightly in the stale air. And written on the next blank line, fresh ink, your handwriting. "No memory" are 5 words that make your blood feel thin. Proof requires a live demonstration. No, not demon. Not that. Your mind reaches for a better word and finds nothing. Demonstration. Live. People. Your thumb hovers over the recessed button. You can feel the choice like a weight on your bones. If you don't activate it, you have a story no one will believe. If you do, you might become the story. The pulse climbs. The room seems to tilt by a fraction, as if the world is leaning in to listen, and your thumb presses down. Your thumb presses the button, and for a beat, nothing happens. That's almost comforting, like maybe you panicked over a glorified paperweight, like maybe the world is still the kind of place where you can be wrong and laugh about it later. Then the device warms in your palm, not hot, not burning, just alive with purpose. A tiny, dim flicker wakes behind the indicator window, and your body answers it the way a tuning fork answers a note. The pulse you've been feeling in the background of your nerves rises to the foreground like a hand coming up over your mouth. You inhale and the air tastes the same, but your thoughts don't. They line up, single file, too orderly. You look at the open journal on the bed and the words seem sharper than ink has a right to be, like your brain is suddenly receiving them in a higher resolution. You can feel your own attention being guided, nudged, steered. Soft pressure, no violence required, just suggestion with a firm thumb on the scale. This is the part where you tell yourself it's stress, it's trauma, it's sleep deprivation in a cheap motel room, and you are one more bad night away from seeing patterns in toast. And then the device gives you a pattern on purpose. The pulse syncs with the neon outside the window, with the distant, constant churn of the city that never truly sleeps. Las Vegas has always had a heartbeat. Now it feels like it's sharing one with you. Your gaze drifts to the door chain. You did not decide to look at it. Your eyes simply arrive there. A thought forms, clean and reasonable, in your own inner voice. Open the door. Tell them you found it. This ends if you cooperate. You stare at your hands like you're meeting them for the first time. They tremble, but they're steady enough to do damage if they want to. And that's the sickest part. Your body feels capable, calmly capable, like a well-trained tool. You whisper, No, the word feels tiny against the pulse. You grab the journal and flip pages fast, hungry for anything that explains what's happening inside your skull. You find the clinical sections again: compliance thresholds, stimulus saturation, behavioral cascades. It reads like the cold side of psychology, the side that treats people like numbers that walk. Then deeper in, a section with a date that makes your stomach clench, not because you remember where you were, but because everyone remembers where they were. After the September 11th attacks, the ink says, the money came in rivers, not for healing, for prevention, for control, for the next unthinkable thing. New agencies, new contractors, new programs with names designed to sound harmless in a budget line item. Wire whisper node appears again and again. Field trials, event density, public compliance metrics, and one phrase that makes you swallow hard because it's written like a mission statement, not a warning. Panic is a resource. You think about the festival, the way fear moved through the crowd like electricity, the way strangers became obstacles and then just as quickly became rescuers. You think about how easy it would be to steer that, how a small push at the right moment could turn human beings into a stampede, a riot, a frozen statue. You flip further and find what looks like a roster. Not names. Never names, just roles. Carrier 1, Carrier 2, Carrier 3. The entries are spaced years apart, mapped to places where crowds gather because crowds are the point. A sports arena, a holiday parade, a packed shopping center, and beside each carrier, the same note, repeated like someone trying to convince themselves. Subjects self-rationalize. So it doesn't feel like control, it feels like choice. Your breath comes shallow. You picture Stephen Paddock, not as an outlier, not as a lone storm, but as one needle on a dial somebody has been turning for years. The unexplained preparation, the money trail that never quite makes sense, the way motive stayed slippery in the official story, like a bar of soap you can't grip. In this room with this pulse in your veins, motive has a shape, and then the device gives you another thought, soft as a lullaby. You should destroy it. You almost laugh. Of course, smash the thing, break the spell, walk out into the desert dawn with your freedom restored. You lift the lamp off the nightstand, hands shaking, and raise it over the device. For a glorious half second, you feel like yourself again, messy, terrified, but human. You can do this. You can end this. Your arms freeze, not because you got tired, not because you changed your mind, because something in you simply pauses like a cursor hovering over a command. A new thought slides in, smooth and sensible: do not damage government property. That's when the panic hits, late but vicious. Not the festival panic, the animal kind. This is deeper. This is the fear of realizing your body can be spoken to in a language you don't understand. You lower the lamp slowly, like you're negotiating with your own muscles. Okay, you think, fine, don't destroy it. Then the other option crawls up behind that one: broadcast it. Dump the journal. Tell the world. Let the noise of the internet do what it does best. Multiply, mirror, archive, make it impossible to bury, and you can already see the headline-shaped future of that choice. You can see people reading The Signal like it's a fun mystery until the phrase sticks in their minds like a burr. You can see copycats, some pretending, some not. You can see the way a bad idea becomes a trend when enough scared people are watching each other. The journal's warning rises in your memory in your own handwriting. That is how it spreads. Your stomach twists. You are holding proof that might be a pathogen. So what do you do when the truth itself is dangerous? Your thumb slips on the device, pressing the button longer this time. Not a tap, but a hold. The pulse stutters, just once, like you tripped it, and suddenly you get a pocket of clarity. It's not total peace, it's more like someone turned down the volume on the coercion. Enough for you to think in full sentences again. Enough for you to notice the obvious thing you missed while drowning in fear. The device isn't just broadcasting, it's listening, it's adapting, just like the journal said. In that brief quiet, your laptop screen wakes by itself, the cursor blinking in an empty draft like a heartbeat. A new file appears on the desktop without you touching anything. No download bar, no notification. Just there, as if it's been waiting behind the curtain. The file name is simple: Endgame. You click it because of course you do. Curiosity isn't bravery, it's compulsion with good branding. A block of text opens, tight, formatted, official in tone. Not a manifesto, not a threat. A plan. Phase 3, National Compliance Demonstration. Below it, a line that makes your throat close. Primary objective: recovery of the active node. You read it twice before it lands. Active node, not device, not journal. You. The pulse surges back hard, swallowing that tiny pocket of clarity like it never existed. Your hands start to shake again, but now it's not just fear, it's grief, rage, a sick, humiliating disappointment in how fragile a human mind can be when someone finds the right lever. Your gaze snaps to the mirror across the room, and for a second you don't see your reflection the normal way. You see a person shaped like you, but with eyes that look slightly off, timing, like they're following a different beat. You whisper, "I'm still here," and inside your skull, the pulse answers with something that feels like agreement, or ownership. Outside the room, footsteps move down the walkway, measured and unhurried, and your laptop screen refreshes one more time, adding a final sentence beneath the plan like a signature. If you are reading this, you are already broadcasting. The sentence on your laptop sits there like a judge's gavel. If you are reading this, you are already broadcasting. You stare at it until the words stop being words and become a physical sensation, like a film on your tongue, like grit in your eyes. The pulse in your veins keeps time with something outside the room, something bigger than you, and the worst part is how easily your mind starts to cooperate. Your thoughts want to march, your fear wants to become obedience, your body wants the simple relief of being told what to do. Footsteps pass your door again, unhurried. No hotel urgency, no sloppy panic, just patience with a bad-shaped silhouette. And then, because this night refuses to run out of fresh humiliations, a new message appears on the laptop, overlaying the file like it owns it. You have 5 minutes to remain you. Under that, an address. Not a street. A landmark you recognize because everyone recognizes it. A place where tourists pose with drinks the size of their own heads. Where the strip glows bright enough to bleach the stars. Your first instinct is to laugh. Of course, meet a stranger at a landmark. Like this is a spy movie and you're not a shaking person in a motel room trying not to become a transmitter. Your second instinct is worse. Your muscles loosen, your breathing steadies. Your mind supplies a neat, reasonable plan. Go there, do as instructed. End the discomfort, you clamp your teeth together so hard your jaw aches. No, you whisper, and this time it's not tiny. It's a nail you hammer into the floorboards of your own sanity. You stuff the device and the journal into your bag. And you leave without looking back at the laptop because you cannot shake the feeling that it's looking back at you. The motel walkway smells like old smoke and sun-baked paint. A man stands near the ice machine at the far end. Posture casual, face turned slightly away like he's trying not to be memorable. Another figure leans on the railing below, not watching you, just existing in the exact spot a person would stand if they wanted to funnel you. You keep your pace normal. You keep your face blank. You walk like you belong here. Like your life isn't a fragile thing balancing on a frequency. As you pass the stairwell, someone steps into your path. A woman, mid-30s, maybe, dark hair pulled back. Eyes too steady for the hour. She doesn't reach for you, she doesn't threaten. She simply speaks your name as if you two have met in better circumstances. "Come with me," she says. "If you stay above ground, you'll be picked up in minutes." The pulse flares, and you hate yourself for it, but part of you feels relief. A guide, a handrail, a voice that sounds like decisions. You're with them, you say, because saying it out loud is the only way to make your suspicion feel real. She exhales like she's tired of being misunderstood. I'm not anymore. From inside her jacket, she flashes credentials so quickly you only catch the seal and the words you've seen on too many headlines tonight. Federal Bureau of Investigation. You almost believe her on reflex. That's how authority works. It's a shortcut your brain takes when it's desperate. Then she adds, softer. "I was on the shooter's investigation. The one with all the missing motives and tidy answers. I know what you found." That should comfort you. It doesn't, because the journal never had your name in it, and you never told anyone what you found. And yet she says it like it's already filed. You stand there, caught between two kinds of danger. The danger that hunts you, and the danger that offers help too fast. A shout rises somewhere beyond the motel parking lot. Car horns, a distant surge of voices. The strip is having one of its mood swings, bright to ugly in a heartbeat. Power flickers across the skyline. Neon stuttering like the city itself is trying to blink something out of its eyes. The woman watches your hesitation and makes a small, helpless motion with her hand. "You don't have time to vet me. This isn't about a single shooter. This is about a system, and you're holding its leash." The pulse surges at the word leash, like it resents the metaphor. You should run. You should slam your door and hope your chain holds against the world. Instead, you follow her because you are still a human being, and humans follow the nearest certainty when everything else is fire. She leads you off the bright streets and into a service entrance that smells like bleach and hot concrete. Downstairs, through a corridor where the air turns damp and cooler, the city's perfume fading into something older, rust, wet stone, electrical insulation. Las Vegas has a second city beneath it. Not a secret, exactly, just ignored. Tunnels for flood control and utilities, veins under the glittering skin. Down here, the pulse in your veins changes. It doesn't vanish, but it dulls, as if the concrete is swallowing some of it. Your shoulders unclench a fraction. You hadn't realized how tightly you were holding yourself together until you feel the tiniest slack. "Shielding," the woman says, noticing. "Not perfect. Better, they've built this place with purpose. A door within a door, a room within a room. Metal mesh tucked behind drywall like Paranoia made architectural. A bunker, but not the dramatic kind. No missiles, no red buttons, just a space designed to make signals behave. For a few minutes you can think. She sets a small case on a folding table and opens it. Inside are printed pages, photos, procurement logs. Mundane paperwork that should be boring, except you recognize a symbol in the corner of one sheet. The same mark stamped into your device. This program was pitched as crowd safety, she says. After the September 11th attacks, everyone wanted tools that could prevent the next disaster. They called it behavioral stabilization. They called it compliance under stress. They called it anything except what it really was. And what was it really? You ask, her gaze slides to your bag, to the journal. A way to make people believe their worst impulse is a personal choice. You feel that line sink into you, heavy and slow, because you've already tasted it. You've already felt your muscles pause mid-action like a puppet waiting for a tug. She flips to a photograph, grainy, taken from a distance. A hotel suite window, shapes behind the glass tripods, cases you recognize the outline of rifle stocks, yes, but you also see what you didn't want to see, cables, boxy attachments, a geometry to the layout that looks less like a shooter's nest and more like equipment staged to point outward. His arsenal was camouflage, she says. They needed panic, they needed noise, they needed a headline that would swallow the real mechanism. You picture the festival again. The bodies running, the confusion, the helplessness, and somewhere above all that, a frequency riding the chaos like a surfer on a wave. A thin, hopeful part of you reaches up anyway, so you can shut it down. The woman hesitates. Just a beat too long. We can contain it, she says carefully. We can recover the node. Recover, not rescue, not save. Node, you feel the pulse answer that word like it's been called by name. Your laptop, still in your bag, vibrates faintly. You pull it out and the screen wakes, even without the motel's network. A new encrypted message loads as if it's been waiting for you to arrive. It's short, clinical, double agent confirmed, handler Reyes. You look up at the woman. Her face doesn't change at first. Then her eyes flick, just once, to the device-shaped bulge in your bag, and that tiny betrayal is louder than any confession. You're Reyes, you whisper. She closes her eyes like a person bracing for impact. Listen to me, she says. I didn't choose this role. The signal chose it for me. It gets into your motivations. It makes you justify. It makes you think you're still steering while you're just following grooves. The pulse climbs, as if the device is enjoying the argument. Above you, the world goes darker for a second. Another flicker, another blackout rolling through the strip like a passing sickness. Somewhere in the tunnels beyond this room, voices rise. Frantic, then angry, then weirdly unified, like a chant forming without anyone meaning to start one. Your phone, your new one. The emergency burner you swore you'd only use for one call, lights, with a message from that kind survivor you spoke to after the festival. The last person who made you feel less alone. It reads, I can't tell which thoughts are mine anymore. Then, after a pause long enough to break your heart, one more line appears. I'm sorry, and then nothing. No typing bubble, no reply, just a dead quiet on the screen that feels like a door closing somewhere you can't reach. Grief hits you hot and immediate. You don't even know them, not really. And still the loss claws at you because it's proof. This doesn't just kill bodies, it kills selves. Rhea steps closer, palms out, voice gentle like she's trying to soothe an animal. Give me the device. If we keep it contained, we limit the spread. Contained where? In whose hands? You think of the journal's neat handwriting, the coldness, the way it talked about people like inventory. You think of national compliance demonstration and feel your stomach turn. You back away, and the pulse tries to help you, tries to fill your mind with clean solutions. Hurt her, silence her, end the uncertainty. Your hands twitch. You stare at them, terrified, because the urge feels like it came from you. It wears your own voice like a stolen coat. No, you snarl, not at her, at yourself. Reyes' expression fractures for the first time. Not anger, something worse, relief mixed with resignation, like she's been waiting to see which way you'll break. Footsteps pound in the outer tunnel now, not just one team, multiple. The bunker door shudders under a testing hand, and for a 6-second you can't tell if the people coming are rescue, retrieval, or something in between. Reyes leans in, voice tight. If they take you, this becomes a demonstration. If you leave with it, you might start one, friend. Foe. Those categories feel childish down here, like crayons in a place built from steel and fear. The pulse surges hard enough to make your vision grainy. The edges of the room blur. The bunker seems to breathe. You blink, and you see the festival for half a heartbeat. Lights, proud hands reaching. Then you're back under the strip with a device in your bag and a woman in front of you who might be saving you or selling you. The encrypted message on your laptop updates one final time, as if the system itself is leaning close to your ear. Phase 3 begins with a choice. And as the bunker door starts to give, The signal rises like a tide washing over the tunnel, over Reyes, over you until you can't tell whether the terror in your chest is warning you or steering you. The bunker door finally gives in a way that feels less like a break-in and more like a judgment. Metal bows, dust sifts down from the ceiling. The air changes, pressured by bodies moving with purpose. You don't see the first face clearly. You just catch the posture, upright, unhurried, trained. A flashlight beam skims the room like a finger tracing a line of text. Someone says, "Node," the way a person says wallet or keys. Like you're an object that got misplaced. Reyes grabs your sleeve. Her hand is warm, human, almost convincing. "Move," she says. The signal swells, and for half a second your brain offers the easiest exit: surrender. Let it be over. Let someone else hold the fear. You bite down hard enough to taste blood, and you follow Reyes through a narrow service hatch behind a metal cabinet. It's the kind of hiding place built by people who don't trust doors. You drop into a maintenance corridor that smells like wet concrete and old electricity, and as the hatch swings shut above you, the bunker becomes somebody else's problem. Down here, the strip is gone. The glittering skyline turns into pipes and cable runs and ugly paint. Las Vegas, stripped to its bones, looks like every other city, functional, cramped, and full of places you could disappear. Reyes moves like she knows exactly where the cameras don't look. That should terrify you more than it does. "You have access," you whisper. "I had access," she corrects, "and I still know the routes." Footsteps thunder somewhere behind you, but they don't sound panicked. They sound coordinated, like the people chasing you are reading the same map. You turn a corner and see a door that doesn't belong in a flood tunnel, thick, sealed, labeled with a bland plaque that could mean anything. Communications Annex. That's what it says. Like the scariest things in the world always wear the most boring name tags. Reyes taps a code. The keypad chirps approval with cheerful indifference. The door unlocks, a cold corridor yawns open, brighter and cleaner than the tunnel. Like you just stepped from a throat into a dentist's waiting room. White walls, clean corners, air that smells filtered, everything designed to be wipeable. Forgettable, black site. You ask, and it comes out almost like a joke, because if you don't joke, you might scream. Reyes doesn't laugh. Call it what you want. You walk fast because stopping feels like letting the signal catch up. Your bag bumps against your hip, the device inside pulsing like it's proud of itself. You start to realize the horror isn't just that someone built this place. It's that someone built it to run forever. At the first intersection, two men appear ahead, security. Maybe something worse. Their faces are neutral in the same way a blank form is neutral. One lifts his hand, palm out, not pointing a weapon, not shouting, just halting you. For a heartbeat, you think they're about to speak. Instead, both of them tilt their heads slightly, in perfect sync, like they just received the same instruction. And you get that crawling feeling in your spine. These aren't just agents. These are receivers. Their eyes track you without curiosity, without anger, like you're a package on a conveyor belt. Reyes yanks you into a side room. Storage. Shelving boxes labeled with numbers instead of words. The kind of room where a human being could become inventory with the right paperwork. Through the crack in the door, you watch the two men pass by, slow and methodical. One of them murmurs something under his breath. Not a prayer, not a threat, more like a checklist. Your skin prickles. You whisper, "Are they infected?" Reyes' jaw tightens. They're tuned. The signal surges at that word, and suddenly your hands itch with an urge you don't recognize. A clean, sharp impulse. Open the door and step out. Present yourself, cooperate. You press your palms to your eyes, trying to squeeze yourself back into your skull. You think about the festival, how normal the night was until it wasn't. How quickly your body learned new rules. This is the same lesson, just quieter. You force your eyes open and pull your phone from your pocket, not to call anyone, but to anchor yourself. Photos. Proof you existed before tonight. Faces you love. A birthday cake. A dumb selfie you used to hate because of your hair. The images are still there, but your memory stutters around them. For a sick moment, you can't recall the name of the person beside you in one picture. You know you love them. You know their laugh. But the name slips away like it was never yours to keep. Assimilation isn't a monster jumping out of a closet. It's forgetting your own life one detail at a time. Reyes gestures you deeper into the facility. There's a terminal room, she says. If we pull the program files, you'll have something that survives even if you don't. That's supposed to be comforting. It isn't. You reach the terminal room and it looks like every office you've ever worked in. Just colder screens, keycard readers, a metal table, no dramatic weapons, no evil lair vibe, just bureaucracy with better lighting. Reyes sets your laptop down and nods at your bag. The device is the key. It always was. You hesitate. She sees it and softens her voice. I know what the message said about me. Handler Reyes. Cute. You should ask yourself who sent it. You want to argue. You want to accuse. But the signal is pressing at the back of your thoughts, and behind you, the hunt is closing in. You make the choice that feels least fatal and slide the device out, holding it like it might bite. You place it near the reader. The screen wakes on its own, a login prompt appearing and then dissolving like it recognizes you without credentials. A file tree unfolds, neat and labeled, as if someone organized humans suffering the way a librarian organizes books. For one brief, intoxicating moment, you feel triumphant. You're in. You're past the velvet rope. You can finally see the machine from the inside. Then you read the folder names. Route 91 Containment Test. Mandalay Hub, Suite Complex. Phase 2, Randomness Narrative. Under that last one, a line of text that lands like ice water. Shooter profile selected for plausible isolation. Unexplained wealth provides procurement cover. Arsenal doubles as amplifier array. You stare, and the past reshapes itself with a horrible click. In this version of history, the rifles weren't just weapons. They were scaffolding. They were decoys. The noise, the chaos, the headlines cover for a broadcast meant to ride panic like a current. You open another file and find a clinical after-action summary. Not condolences, not outrage, just results. Containment failed. Casualty rate exceeded acceptable range. Subject 0 escalated beyond script. Public narrative maintained. Your stomach twists. You think of 60 people who never went home. You think of the hundreds who did and carried that night inside them like shrapnel. You can't remove. And you see, in black text on a white screen, how little any of it mattered to the people who wrote this. Reyes leans over your shoulder. Her eyes shine with something raw and complicated. Regret, maybe, or hunger. Or both. You scroll again, frantic now. Because you need the endgame, the proof, the piece that makes this undeniable. And there it is. Phase 3, National Compliance Demonstration. Primary objective, retain active node. On the next line, the system lists the active node's name. Your name. Your mouth goes dry. The pulse in your veins spikes like it's pleased to be acknowledged. You start the download, not with clever hacking, not with movie magic, but because the system lets you. Like it wants you to carry it out, like it wants you to spread it. The lights in the corridor outside flicker to emergency red. A message scrolls across the top of the screen. Crisp and final, containment burn protocol initiated. Reyes swears under her breath, they're going to erase the facility. Erase, not shut down, not evacuate. Erase somewhere deeper in the building. Doors begin to seal. You feel the shift in air pressure. You feel the facility tightening around you like a fist. Reyes grabs your arm again. We have to go now. What about the files? You snap. They'll be useless if you're dead. Another message appears beneath the first, as if the system is narrating your life. Node retention override active. You turn toward the door and see the two tuned men again at the far end of the corridor, walking toward you with that same blank purpose. Not running, not yelling, just coming. Slasher movies taught you killers sprint. Real-life killers don't always need to. Reyes pulls something from her waistband, a small pistol shaking in her hand like it doesn't belong there. She looks at it like she's seeing it for the first time. Then she looks at you, and for a heartbeat you see the old her, the human her, the her that might have wanted out. Do it if I switch, she whispers. If my eyes go empty, don't let me be used. Your throat closes. This is the moral math nobody prepares you for. Would you end a friend's suffering if it meant stopping the spread? Or would you keep them alive long enough to use them as bait, buying yourself seconds while your conscience claws itself apart? The signal hums through your bones, eager for your decision. The download bar crawls toward completion. The corridor grows brighter red, and the system adds one last line, calm as a receipt. Self-destruction sequence, armed. The progress bar reaches the end with a tiny, indifferent finality, complete. For half a second, you just stare at it, waiting for the universe to argue, waiting for some unseen hand to slap your wrist and say, nice try. Instead, the ceiling lights dip and return as a hard emergency red that makes every surface look bruised. A new line of text crawls across the screen, calm as a receipt, containment burn protocol in progress. The facility tightens around you. Doors you did not even notice a moment ago slide shut somewhere in the corridors. The air pressure shifts in a way your body understands before your mind does. Like being underwater without the courtesy of a splash, Reyes is already moving. She yanks the portable drive from the terminal and shoves it into your hand. It's absurdly small for something that could crack the world open. A whole catastrophe, reduced to something you could lose in a couch cushion. Go, she says. Now, you have it. That's the only win that matters. The tuned men appear at the end of the hallway, two silhouettes in that red wash, walking towards you with the patience of gravity. No panic, no anger, no chase movie sprint. Just inevitability. Your body wants to do something desperate, something violent, something quick that would simplify the math. The signal nudges that urge like a parent guiding a child's hand on a pencil. You feel your fingers flex. You look down at them and hate how capable they seem. Reyes lifts her pistol, hands shaking. "Don't make me switch," she whispers. And for one raw moment, she sounds less like a handler and more like a terrified person begging you not to watch her disappear. You back away, clutching the drive so hard it digs into your palm. "Come with me." "I can't," she says, and her eyes flick, just once to a panel beside the door access. Routes. A way out. A way out she knows. A way out she's choosing not to take. That should make you trust her. It almost does. It almost feels like a clean moral story. The bad guy turns good at the last second, pays the price. The hero escapes with proof. Real life is rarely that neat. The signal surges, and suddenly you can't tell if this is sacrifice or choreography. Reyes slams her palm on the panel. A side door unlocks with a heavy click, and she shoves you through it so hard you stumble. "Run," she says, voice breaking. And don't, her sentence cuts off as her face changes. Not dramatically, no theatrical possession, just a subtle blanking. Like somebody dimmed the lights behind her eyes. Switch. Your stomach drops through the floor. She looks at you again, and you can see her trying to swim back to the surface of herself. Her jaw clenches. A tear streaks down one cheek like her body is grieving before her mind can. "Do it," she mouths, barely moving her lips. The pistol in her hand trembles toward you, then away, then toward you again. Like the signal is tugging her arms the way the tide tugs seaweed. This is the moment the signal wants. A clean decision. A moral wound it can exploit forever. Would you end her if it meant saving yourself? Would you even be saving yourself, or just making the signal's job easier by turning you into the kind of person who follows orders? You do the only thing you can do without becoming what it wants. You slam the door. You lock it. You don't look back at her face as it disappears into that red hallway. You run. The corridors blur into a series of sterile turns and numbered doors. The air grows warmer, then colder, then weirdly dry. Like the building is cycling through options the way a person cycles through excuses. You pass rooms that look like offices and rooms that look like clinics and rooms that look like nothing at all, just empty space built to hide other empty spaces. Somewhere behind you, there's a dull thump that rattles dust from the ceiling. The facility's burn protocol isn't a single explosion. It's a methodical erasure, a controlled collapse, the kind of destruction designed by people who fill out forms afterward. You drop into a stairwell. You take steps 2 at a time. Your lungs burn. Your hands shake. The pulse inside you keeps time anyway. Smug and steady, like it knows you can run forever and still be broadcasting. At the bottom, the stairwell opens into a maintenance tunnel that smells like damp stone and old stormwater. Finally, something ugly and honest. You follow it until the walls widen, until the ceiling lowers, until you realize you're in the underbelly Las Vegas pretends doesn't exist. A flood tunnel, a concrete artery leading away from the strip and out toward the desert wash. You keep moving until the air changes again, less filtered, more open. The tunnel slopes upward. Your feet splash through shallow water that shouldn't be there, and you wonder if the city is bleeding somewhere above. Then you're out, not into freedom, not exactly, into a stretch of desert outskirts where the light's thin and the sky feels too big, too indifferent. The ground is hard-packed dirt and scattered stones. The air smells like dust and heat in distant car exhaust. If you've ever wanted to feel like an ant that escaped a glass jar, congratulations. The world is enormous now, and you are still trapped. You crouch behind a low ridge and pull the portable drive out again. Your fingers are clumsy with fear. You want to check the files, to confirm you didn't just ruin your life for nothing. You plug it into your laptop with hands that don't feel like yours anymore. Folders unfold across the screen. Route 91 containment test. Mandalay Hub Suite Complex. Subject 0, prototype carrier. Your throat tightens at that last one. You click, the report reads like a eulogy written by an accountant. Subject 0 selected due to baseline pathology, compliance potential, logistical independence. A frequency interface was installed under the guise of a medical intervention. An array was staged in the suite not just to kill, but to amplify. And then a line that turns your stomach because it's written as if someone is disappointed in a machine that didn't perform to spec. Subject 0 escalated beyond script, containment failed. So he was used, and he still chose. That's the horror you can't untangle. The signal can shove, but a shove isn't a puppet string unless something inside you wants to move. The program didn't create evil from nothing. It found the cracks and poured itself in. You scroll faster, searching for the name of whoever signed off, whoever called human beings resources, whoever decided panic was worth harvesting. A signature block appears, not a handwritten signature, a typed name, Deputy Director Malcolm Hart. Your mind supplies his face instantly because you've seen him on television before, haven't you? The calm official tone. The steady eyes, the kind of man who can look into a camera after a tragedy and say, "We are investigating all angles," while already knowing which angles are allowed. Your stomach twists with something like vindication. There's your high-level conspirator, there's your proof. There's the lever you can pull that might make the whole ugly machine stutter. For a brief moment, you feel powerful. Then the signal answers that feeling with a cold little laugh inside your nerves, because the next file is already opened without your click. And the header makes your blood go thin. Active node profile. Your name is there again, not as a target, not as a mistake, as a scheduled outcome. Below it, a scanned document appears, an old consent form from a clinical trial you barely remember. Some harmless-sounding study about migraine relief, or sleep improvement, or tinnitus management. One of those things people sign because the print is small and the promise is comfort. Your signature sits on the bottom like a betrayal you committed against your future self. You whisper, "No," and the word feels childish. The signal doesn't need your belief, it has your paperwork. The desert air suddenly feels thick. Your vision grainy at the edges, your memory hiccups, your own middle name, the sound of your mother's laugh, and for a terrifying second, you can't catch them. They slide away like they were never anchored. You squeeze your eyes shut and you see the festival again. Not the whole thing, just fragments, a boot in the dirt, a hand reaching, a face turned up to the lights, stunned. Then another fragment, worse. You see yourself from above, standing perfectly still while everyone runs, calm as a tuned agent, watching the panic like it's data. You jerk your eyes open, panting, and realize your laptop screen has changed again. A message box sits there, clean and polite. Phase 3 requires distribution. 2 buttons beneath it. Broadcast. Destroy. You laugh, once sharp and exhausted. Of course, it reduces your morality to 2 options. Of course, the signal wants to make your life into a menu. If you broadcast, the world might finally believe you, and the pattern might spread like wildfire through terrified minds. If you destroy, you might save strangers from contagion, and guarantee nobody ever sees the truth. What would you do? No, really, what would you do? With your hands shaking, and your memory slipping, and a program in your bloodstream. Headlights sweep the ridgeline. Not close yet, but coming. You slam the laptop shut, clutch the drive, and start walking deeper into the dark. Because standing still feels like surrender. Your phone buzzes once in your pocket. No number, no name. Just a text that hits you like a hand on the back of your neck. Deputy Director Hart would like to speak with you. And right beneath it, as if the signal can't resist adding its own punchline, "Thank you for carrying the proof. Deputy Director Malcolm Hart would like to speak with you." That text sits on your screen like a hand on your shoulder, friendly, firm, possessive, and you finally understand the real trap. It is not the chase. It is the conversation. It is the moment you let them turn your fear into cooperation, your proof into a discussion, your life into a file that gets stamped and shelved, so you do not meet him. You also do not take the neat little option the signal offered, broadcast or destroy, because neat options are how it wins. Neat options turn you into a lever. You choose something uglier, human. You scatter the truth in pieces, the way people have always survived powerful liars, not with one heroic reveal, but with too many copies to swallow. You push the files out of your hands and into the world in ways that do not feel like a button, ways that feel like paper cuts. And then, only then, you destroy what you can risk carrying. It should feel like victory. For a day, it almost does. In the real history, the 2017 Las Vegas shooting left 60 dead and hundreds wounded, and the motive never quite satisfied anyone who had to live with the aftermath. In this what if, you found a motive that doesn't live in a person. It lives in a system, an impersonal force that learns you the way a lock learns a key. Weeks later, you standing in a grocery store staring at a wall of cereal you do not remember walking toward, and the lights overhead flicker in a rhythm that makes your thoughts line up nice and orderly. You look over your shoulder, nothing there, just the faint pulse, like a whisper on the wire, asking the same question it always asks. Are you sure that thought was yours? If this Las Vegas shooting what-if story, this alternate timeline horror, this government cover-up psychological thriller, chilled you, hit like, subscribe to Midnight What Ifs, and share it with a friend who claims nothing scares them. Comment below, what secret would you bury, and what would you unearth? Until next time, sleep with one eye open.